The glass shattered against the marble wall. Everyone froze. The conference room on the 42nd floor of Kang Global Tower went dead silent, except for the echo of broken crystals sliding to the floor. Chairman Kang Jae-min stood at the head of the table, chest rising, jaw clenched so tightly the muscle in his cheek jumped. His hand was still raised from where he'd thrown the glass. Whiskey dripped slowly from his fingers. The silence turned vicious. Jaemin turned slowly, his eyes dark, unreadable. Onto the document spread before him. "Get out," he said calmly. No one moved. "I said get out." Apt shut. Chairs screeched. Within seconds the room emptied, leaving only one person behind. His wife. Zainab Kang stood perfectly still near the door, dark skin glowing against the cold Korean marble, her hands folded in front of her like she'd learned to do when silence was safer than words. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. B executives scrambled to their feet, laptops. Snutter face showed nothing. She had learned that too, from him. Before we continue, if you love intense Afro-Korean stories filled with power, betrayal, and unforgettable love, hit subscribe, tap like, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. You don't want to miss what happens next. The door shut behind the last executive. How long? Zainab swallowed. How long for what? His laugh was sharp, dangerous. "Don't insult me." She lifted her chin. "Then don't accuse me." He crossed the room in long strides, stopping inches from her. Too close. Always too close. His presence pressed into her like a physical force, the same way it had the night he married her, without love, without tenderness, without asking if she was ready. "Who was in your car last night?" he asked quietly. Her breath caught. So he knew. She forced herself not to flinch. "My driver." His hand slammed into the wall beside her head. "The car was registered to you," he said, voice low and lethal. "My men followed it. It didn't go home." Her pulse spiked. "I had dinner." "With who?" Silence. That was the mistake. His eyes darkened instantly. "Say it." "It's none of your business." The words landed like a slap. For a moment, Zainab thought he might actually hit her. Instead, he stepped back, laughing again. But there was no humor in it. "None of my business," he repeated. "You are my wife." "And you are my husband," she shot back, the years of swallowed resentment finally snapping. "But you haven't touched me in months. You barely look at me. You leave at night and come back smelling like someone else's perfume, and I'm supposed to explain my whereabouts to you?" His expression changed. That hurt. Good. "You regret marrying me," she said softly, the truth spilling out before she could stop it. "Don't you?" The room felt smaller, tighter. Jaemin didn't answer immediately. That was enough to answer enough. Zainab nodded slowly, her chest burning. "I thought so." She turned for the door. His voice stopped her. "Don't walk away from me." She laughed bitterly. "You walked away from me first. You just never left the house." She reached for the handle. "Zainab." She paused. "Who was in the car?" he asked again, more controlled now, more dangerous. She turned back, eyes blazing. "Your secretary was there." The temperature in the room dropped. "What?" "She was crying in the parking garage," Zainab continued, each word precise, deliberate. "Said she was scared. Said she didn't know what she'd done wrong. So I drove her home. Is that the answer you wanted?" Something in Jaemin's face cracked. Not guilt. Possession. "You don't get to interfere with my staff." "She's a woman," Zainab snapped, "and she's terrified of you. That's not your concern. Everything in this house is my concern." Silence stretched. Between them, thick with unspoken truths. He stepped closer again, towering over her. "You're testing me." "No," she said quietly. "I stopped trying to please you a long time ago." That landed harder than any accusation. Jaemin stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time, not the quiet African wife he'd married for political alliances and global image, not the elegant woman who smiled beside him at galas, but someone solid, unmovable, dangerous in her own way. "You think I regret marrying you?" he said slowly. She didn't answer. He leaned down until his forehead nearly touched hers. "You have no idea what marrying you cost me." Her laugh was soft, broken. "And you have no idea what it's cost me to stay." That was when his phone buzzed. Once, twice. He ignored it. Then a third time. Zainab's eyes flicked to it. "Work?" he answered without breaking eye contact. "Speak." A male voice crackled through the speaker, tense. "Boss, we have a problem." Jaemin's jaw tightened. "Define a problem." "The board just voted. Your wife's name came up." Zainab's breath hitched. Jaemin went still. "Explain." "They're questioning her influence, her access. Someone leaked information about her movements." His gaze snapped to her. Zainab's stomach dropped. "I didn't—" "Silence," he ordered into the phone. "I'll handle it." He ended the call slowly. The air between them changed. "You're being watched," he said. Zainab steadied herself. "By who?" "People who destroy what they can't control." She met his eyes, fear and fury colliding in her chest. "And you married me anyway." His expression darkened. "That was my mistake." The words sliced through her. She nodded once, pain flashing across her face before she buried it. "Then fix it." She walked out before he could stop her, heels clicking down the hallway, spine straight even as her heart shattered. Behind her, Jaemin stood alone in the ruined conference room, staring at the door she'd disappeared through, something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. Regret. And somewhere deep inside, the terrifying realization that the woman he thought he controlled was slipping beyond his reach. And if the wrong people touched her, the destroyer would become the destroyer. Zainab didn't cry until she reached the elevator. The doors slid shut, sealing her inside the mirrored box, and that was when her hands began to shake. She pressed her palms together hard enough to hurt, grounding herself, breathing through the burn in her chest. She would not fall apart. Not here. Not now. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Another buzz, then a third. She glanced down despite herself. Unknown number. "Madam, please don't tell him I spoke to you. I didn't mean to cause trouble." Zainab closed her eyes. So it was true. The secretary had been crying because of him. Because of the way Jae-min looked at people when they disappointed him. Because of the power he wielded so casually, it crushed everything beneath it. She typed back with steady fingers. "You're safe. Don't message me again. Be careful." The elevator chimed. Lobby. She straightened her spine, lifted her chin, and stepped out like a woman who hadn't just been told her husband considered marrying her, a mistake. Outside, Seoul moved the way it always did. Fast, indifferent, merciless. Black cars slid past the curb. Men in suits laughed into phones. Life continued, even when something inside you broke. Her driver opened the door. "Madam?" "Take me home," she said quietly. The car pulled away. Across the city, Jaemin stood in his office long after she left, staring at the shattered glass on the floor like it was a crime scene. "You're being watched." The words echoed in his head. He hadn't lied. He'd just chosen not to tell her the worst part. It wasn't just the board, it was his enemies. The marriage to Zainab had been strategic. African oil interests, shipping routes, diplomatic cover. She'd been beautiful, intelligent, composed, perfect on paper. He hadn't expected her to be strong. That was the problem. His phone rang again. This time he answered. "Speak," he said. The leak came from inside, his underboss reported. Someone's feeding the board details about Madam Kang's movements, dinner locations, drivers, times. Jaemin's eyes hardened. Find out who. We're working on it. But boss, if they can't reach you, they'll go through her. A familiar cold rage slid into his veins. Put 2 men on her, he ordered. Discreet. She doesn't know. Yes, boss. He ended the call and poured himself another drink. The glass trembled slightly in his hand. Zainab thought he regretted marrying her. If she only knew how wrong she was. He regretted not realizing sooner that loving her, even in the quiet, restrained way he allowed, himself, had made her a target. The car rolled into the private driveway of the Kang estate just as dusk fell. Zainab stepped inside the vast, silent house, heels echoing against marble, the emptiness louder than any argument. She dropped her purse on the console table and loosened her scarf, breathing deeply. Madam? She turned. Mrs. Han, the housekeeper, stood near the kitchen entrance, worry etched into her face. You didn't eat lunch. I'm not hungry. Mrs. Han hesitated. Chairman Kang called earlier. Zainab stiffened. What did he want? He asked if you were home. Of course he did. Tell him I'm resting. Mrs. Han nodded and retreated. Zainab climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Their bedroom waited at the end of the hall, immaculate, cold, untouched, 2 people sharing a space without sharing a life. She sat on the edge of the bed and finally let herself feel it. The loneliness, the humiliation, the quiet, poisonous doubt that whispered maybe she had been naive to think she could survive in a man's world without becoming collateral damage. Her phone rang. Jaemin. She stared at the screen. Then she answered. What? His breath came through the line, controlled, measured. Are you home? Yes. Good. Don't go out tonight. Her fingers tightened around the phone. You don't get to give me curfews. This isn't about control, he said sharply. This is about safety. She laughed, bitter. Now you care? A pause. Zainab. What? She snapped. Tell me what you really want to say. Silence stretched, then quietly. You shouldn't have driven her. There it was, not concerned. Possession. She was scared, Zainab said. I recognized it. That fear exists for a reason. And whose fault is that? She shot back. Yours. Another pause, heavier this time. You don't understand my world, he said. No, she agreed. But I understand cruelty. And I understand regret. His voice dropped. You think I regret you. She didn't answer. Look at me when I come home, he said. Then say it again. The line went dead. Zainab lowered the phone slowly, her heart pounding. Minutes later, headlights swept across the bedroom walls. He was home. Downstairs, the front door opened and closed with deliberate calm. Footsteps echoed. Controlled. Dangerous. Zainab didn't move. The bedroom door opened. Jaemin stepped inside, jacket removed, sleeves rolled up, his presence filling the room like a storm cloud. You think I regret marrying you, he said. She stood slowly. You said it was a mistake. I said it was costly. She met his eyes. Same thing. He crossed the room in 3 strides, stopping just short of touching her. I married you because you were strong enough to survive me. Her breath hitched. I didn't expect you to challenge me, he continued. I didn't expect you to interfere. And I didn't expect to care when you walked out today. That last part slipped. They both felt it. The silence between them pulsed. If caring looks like this, Zainab said quietly, I don't want it. His jaw tightened. You don't get to decide that alone. She laughed, a sharp, wounded sound. Of course you'd say that. He reached out, then stopped himself. hand hovering in the air between them like he didn't trust it. "You are my wife," he said, "and someone is trying to use you to hurt me." "And you think the solution is to cage me?" she asked. "I think the solution is for you to listen to me." "No," she said firmly. "The solution is for you to tell me the truth." His eyes locked onto hers. For a moment, he looked like he might actually do it. Then his phone buzzed again. He glanced down, and his face changed. "Who is it?" Zainab asked. His voice was deadly calm. "Someone who just crossed a line." He turned the screen toward her. A photo. Zainab stepping out of her car last night. Another angle. The secretary beside her, and a final message beneath it. "Next time, we won't just watch." Zainab's blood ran cold. And if you're feeling the tension right now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment, because this story is only getting darker. Jaemin's eyes lifted to hers, something feral waking behind them. "They've decided to destroy me," he said. "No," Zainab whispered. "They've decided to destroy you." Zainab stared at the phone like it might explode. Her image, her movements, her life, captured, cataloged, weaponized. "This is illegal," she whispered. Jaemin let out a slow breath through his nose. "In my world, legality is optional." She looked up at him sharply. "This is not a game." "I know." His voice was flat, too calm. That terrified her more than his anger ever had. "That's why you're not leaving this house again without protection." "No," she said immediately. "Absolutely not." He turned to her. "You don't get a vote." Her hands curled into fists. "I am not your hostage. You are my wife. I am not a shield." The words hit him like a punch. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Then he spoke, slower now. "Do you know what happens to women connected to men like me when my enemies get desperate?" She swallowed. "You don't scare me." "That's your mistake." She stepped closer, anger burning away fear. "No. My mistake was believing you when you said you'd protect me." His eyes flashed. "I am protecting you. By locking me away," she snapped. "By turning my life into a prison. By keeping you alive." Her voice dropped, trembling despite herself. "Being alive is not the same as living." Something shifted in his expression, something dangerous and raw. "You think I enjoy this?" he said. "You think I built this world because I wanted to hurt people?" She laughed bitterly. "Then why does everyone around you look afraid?" His jaw clenched. "Fear is respect." "No," she said quietly. "Fear is loneliness." The word landed hard. He looked away first. That told her everything. A knock came at the door. Jaemin's head snapped up. "Who is it?" "Security," came the muffled reply. "Sir, we need to brief you." "Get out," Zainab said suddenly. Both men looked at her. "Give us the room," she repeated. "Now." The guard hesitated, then looked at Jaemin. Jaemin nodded once. 5 minutes. The door closed again. Zainab exhaled shakily. "You don't get to decide my fate without me." His voice was low. "This isn't about fate. This is about survival." "Then include me," she said fiercely. "Stop treating me like a liability." He studied her for a long moment, really looked at her. "You're not trained," he said. "You don't know how these people think." "I grew up in Lagos," she shot back. "I know exactly how men think when they believe women are disposable." That stopped him. "You want obedience," she continued, "but you married a woman, not a ghost." He ran a hand through his hair, frustration cracking through his control. "You're asking me to trust you in a war zone. I'm asking you to stop pretending I'm not already in it." Another knock. "Time," the guard called. Jaemin exhaled sharply. "We're not finished." "No," Zainab agreed. We're just getting started. He turned toward the door, then paused. Lockdown. Full perimeter. No exceptions. The house shifted instantly. Footsteps, murmurs, the hum of security systems activating. Zainab felt the walls closing in. Later that night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Every sound amplified. Somewhere in the house, Jaemin moved like a restless shadow. She hated this. Hated the fear, creeping into her bones, hated that his world was swallowing hers whole. Her phone buzzed softly. She froze. Unknown number. A chill ran through her as she opened the message. You look beautiful when you're brave. Her breath caught. Another message followed immediately. Does he know you're stronger than him? Her fingers shook. She typed back before fear could stop her. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, then vanished. Her door opened quietly. She nearly screamed before she saw him. Jaemin. He crossed the room in 2 strides and took the phone from her hand, eyes scanning the screen. The air went lethal. They contacted you, he said. Yes. When? Just now. His jaw tightened. I told you. No, she interrupted, sitting up. You told me to be quiet. You didn't tell me the truth. He looked at her sharply. They think I'm weak, she said. They think I'm your soft spot. He said nothing. That's why they're coming after me. Yes. She took a breath. Then stop hiding me. His eyes narrowed. Explain. Let me be seen, she said. Let them underestimate me. That's insane. So I'm pretending I don't exist, she snapped. You said fear is respect. Let them fear me. He stared at her like she'd just declared war. You'd make yourself bait, he said. I already am. Silence roared between them. Finally, he spoke. If anything happens to you, it will, she said softly. If we do nothing. Something in his gaze changed then. Admiration, maybe. Or something far more dangerous. You really think I regret marrying you, he said quietly. She met his eyes. I think you regret needing me. His lips twitched. That might be true. Outside the house, a car idled in the darkness. Inside, 2 enemies, husband and wife, stood on the edge of an alliance neither of them had planned. And if you're hooked right now, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, do you think Zainab is making the right move? Because the next step would change everything. Jaemin didn't sleep. Neither did Zainab. The house breathed around them, guards shifting, cameras humming, alarms armed. But inside the bedroom, the air was tight, coiled. You want to be seen, Jaemin said finally, breaking the silence. Then you do it my way. Zainab folded her arms. Meaning you don't move without my approval. You don't speak to anyone without clearance, and you don't improvise. She raised a brow. You just described a prison. I just described survival. She met his stare without blinking. Then survive with me, not over me. A long pause, then he nodded once. Tomorrow night, Chairman's gala. Her heart skipped. You're serious? They'll be watching, he said. So we give them a show. She exhaled slowly. Good. He studied her face like he was memorizing it. If you hesitate, I won't. If you panic, I won't. If you see something, anything, I'll trust you, she said quietly. Will you trust me? That took longer. Yes, he said at last. But don't make me regret it. She didn't smile. That makes 2 of us. Across the city, in a dimly lit office far from Kang Global's glass towers, a man watched footage on a loop. Zainab stepped out of her car. Zainab laughing briefly at something unseen. Zainab turning, eyes sharp. Beautiful, he murmured. And dangerous. A woman's voice answered from the shadows. She doesn't know what she's walking into. He smiled. Neither did you. The woman stiffened. "Don't threaten me." "I don't threaten," he said. "I collect." Back at the Kang estate, morning came with a quiet intensity. Stylists arrived. Security briefings ran non-stop. Phones rang and stopped ringing. Zainab stood before the mirror as a seamstress adjusted the gown. Sleek, black, unforgiving. She barely recognized herself. "You look powerful," Mrs. Han said softly. Zainab met her own gaze. "I feel exposed." "Sometimes," Mrs. Han said. "Those are the same thing." Downstairs, Jaemin watched her descend the staircase. The room went still. She moved like she owned the space. Chin high, shoulders back. No fear in her eyes, only resolve. For the first time, he understood what his enemies had seen. Not a weakness. Leverage. "You're late," he said. She stopped in front of him. "You're staring, because you're about to change the board." They arrived at the gala to a wall of light. Cameras flashed. Murmurs rippled. "Madam Kang," someone whispered. "She hasn't been seen in months." Zainab took Jaemin's arm. "Smile." "I don't do that," he muttered. "Then try." He did. Barely. The doors opened. Music swelled. Power shifted. Eyes followed them. Everywhere. Halfway through the room, a familiar face froze Zainab's step. The secretary. Standing near the bar, pale, tense, eyes flicking nervously until they landed on Jae-min. Then, on Zainab. Zainab leaned in. "She's terrified." "I told you not to interfere," he murmured. "She's already involved," Zainab said, "whether you like it or not." They were approached immediately. Board members, investors, politicians. Questions. Compliments. Thinly veiled probes. Zainab answered smoothly, graciously, her words measured and sharp. She felt it then. The shift. They were recalculating. A hand brushed her back. Not Jae-min's. She stiffened. A man stood too close, smiling. "Madam Kang." "An honor." Jaemin's body tensed. "Step back." The man chuckled. "Relax. We're friends." Zainab turned to him, eyes cool. "Friends don't touch without permission." The man blinked, laughed again, weaker this time. "Of course." As he stepped away, Jaemin exhaled slowly. "You're provoking them." "I'm educating them," she said. From across the room, the secretary watched, confusion and fear mixing on her face. She approached hesitantly. "Sir, Madam." Zainab turned fully toward her. "You don't have to be afraid." The girl's eyes filled. "I didn't mean to cause—" "You didn't," Zainab said firmly. "But you're not safe." Jaemin stiffened. "Zainab." "Listen to me," Zainab said to the girl. "If anyone contacts you, threatens you, offers you anything, tell you," the girl whispered. "No," Zainab said. "Tell him." She glanced at Jae-min. He nodded once. Immediately. Relief flooded the girl's face. Too much relief. Zainab saw it. "Who spoke to you?" she asked gently. The girl hesitated. Jaemin's voice cut in. "Now." "A man," she said shakily. He said if I helped him I could disappear, start over." The room seemed to tilt. Zainab felt Jaemin's hand tighten on hers. "Did you help him?" Jaemin asked. "No," the girl sobbed. "I was scared." Zainab stepped forward, steadying her. "You did the right thing." The music swelled. Laughter echoed. Around them, the gala continued. Ignorant, glittering. Jaemin leaned in, voice lethal. "They're closer than I thought." Zainab nodded. "And they think I'm the crack." He studied her. "Are you?" She met his gaze. "I'm the blade." From the balcony above, the man from the shadows watched them together. "Interesting," he murmured. She didn't break. He turned to the woman beside him. "Change the plan." Her voice was cold. "To what?" He smiled. "We don't destroy her." "Then what?" "We make her choose." And if this tension has your heart racing, tap like, subscribe, and tell me. Do you think Zainab should trust Jaemin now? Because the next move will cost them both. The ride home was silent. Not the calm, kind. This was the kind that pressed against the ears, heavy with things neither of them was ready to say. Zainab watched the city lights blur past the tinted windows. Seoul glittered like nothing was wrong, like people didn't get hunted for leverage, like marriages weren't weapons. You saw it, Jaemin said finally. Yes. They weren't testing you, he continued. They were measuring me. And they found your weakness, she said quietly. His jaw tightened. You. She turned to him slowly. No. The fact that you don't know how to stand beside me without trying to control me. That landed harder than any insult. Back at the estate, the moment the doors shut behind them, Jaemin's phone rang. He answered instantly. Report. Sir, his head of security said, breath tight. We lost one of the shadows. Jaemin stopped walking. Lost how? Vanished. No trace. Camera looped for 90 seconds. Zainab's stomach dropped. 90 seconds is an eternity. Jaemin looked at her sharply. You understand this better than you should. I've been watching my whole life, she said, just not by men with guns and money. Another call came in. Jaemin put it on speaker. A distorted voice filled the room. Good evening, Chairman Kang. Zainab felt the air go cold. Jaemin didn't react. You have 10 seconds. The voice laughed softly. Your wife is impressive. Zainab stiffened. You brought her into the light, the voice continued. That was brave, or foolish. What do you want? Jaemin said. A conversation, the man replied. Between equals. You are not my equal. Not yet, the man agreed. But I could be, depending on her. Zainab stepped forward. Say my name. A pause. Then, amused, Zainab. Her spine tingled. You don't scare me, she said. The man chuckled. Everyone says that before they learn. Jaemin moved closer. To her, protective instinct flaring. If you touch her, I won't, the man interrupted. Unless she chooses me. Silence slammed into the room. Choose you for what? Zainab asked. To walk away, the man said smoothly. From him, from this life, clean slate, new identity. Jaemin's eyes went lethal. You're dead. Empty threats, the man replied. You won't move while I'm talking. Because you're afraid of what she might say. Zainab felt it then. The test wasn't about fear. It was about choice. You think I married him for comfort? She asked. I think you married him without knowing the cost. She laughed once, sharp and humorless. You're right. Jaemin's chest tightened. But here's what you got wrong, she continued. I don't run from monsters. Oh? I learn how to survive them, she said, and sometimes, how to love them. Jaemin's breath caught. The man was quiet for a long moment. Interesting, he said finally. Then let's see how much you're willing to lose. The call ended. The room felt hollow. Jaemin turned to her slowly. You shouldn't have said that. I meant it. His voice dropped. Do you understand what you just did? Yes, she said. I made myself indispensable. He stared at her like he was seeing her all over again. You made yourself a target. I already was, she replied. At least now I'm not pretending. Security flooded in moments later. Orders barked, perimeters tightened. But something had shifted. Later that night, Zainab stood alone on the balcony, wrapped in a robe, the cool air brushing her skin. She needed space. Air. Proof she was still herself. She heard footsteps. Jaemin stopped beside her, careful not to crowd her. You could have left, he said quietly. He gave you an out. She looked at the city. And live my life wondering who I was without a backbone? Exhaled slowly. I never wanted this for you. You never asked what I wanted, she said. That's fair. Another silence. Then softer. Do you regret marrying me? The question hung between them, raw and exposed. He didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was low. Honest. I regret not knowing how to be a husband instead of a commander. Her throat tightened. I thought distance would keep you safe, he continued. I didn't realize it was killing you. She turned to him then. You don't get to protect someone you refuse to know. He nodded once. Teach me. The word shocked them both. She searched his face for mockery. Found none. I don't forgive easily, she said. I don't ask for forgiveness, he replied. I earned it. From the shadows beyond the gates, a pair of eyes watched the balcony. They're aligning, a woman said quietly. The man beside her smiled. Good. That makes them stronger. No, he said. That makes the fall louder. Inside, Zainab felt a strange, dangerous calm settle in her chest. She wasn't trapped anymore. She was choosing. And that terrified everyone who wanted to destroy him. If this story has you emotionally invested, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me. Should Zainab stay and fight, or should she walk away while she still can? Morning came with blood. Not literal, not yet, but the kind that soaked into bones before anyone screamed. Zainab was halfway through breakfast when the glass wall overlooking the garden shattered. She ducked instinctively as alarms exploded through the house. Security flooded in, guns raised, shouting orders. Madam, someone yelled. She was already on her feet. Jaemin burst into the room seconds later, jacket half on, eyes scanning her body for wounds. Are you hurt? I'm fine, she said, heart racing. What was that? He turned sharply to his head of security. Report, sniper round, the man said grimly. Warning shot. No intent to kill. Zainab's stomach clenched. A message. Jaemin's face was carved from stone. They're escalating. So are we, she said. He looked at her sharply. This isn't a game. No, she agreed. It's a conversation they're forcing us to have. Within minutes, the estate was locked down tighter than ever. Glass replaced, cameras recalibrated, men stationed everywhere, but fear had already slipped through. In the underground command room, screens glowed with maps and feeds. Jaemin stood at the center, issuing orders with ruthless precision. Zainab watched him from the edge of the room. This was the man he was when stripped bare, focused, lethal, brilliant, and still alone. They want you to pull me away from you, she said quietly. Jaemin didn't turn. They want to see if I'll break. Will you? He finally looked at her. I don't break. She held his gaze. Then stop pushing me away when things get ugly. A guard interrupted. Sir, we traced the signal from the call last night. It bounced through Busan. Zainab's eyes sharpened. Port City. Jaemin nodded. Shipping routes. Old rivals. And African trade lines, she added. He went still. You didn't think I'd notice? She said. They're using my background as bait. Yes, he admitted. And that's why you're staying here. She stepped closer. No, that's why I'm going with you. The room went dead quiet. Absolutely not, Jaemin said. You said teach me, she replied. This is lesson 1. His voice dropped. You'll be killed. So might you, she shot back. At least let me decide if I die standing beside you. For a long moment, no one breathed. Then Jaemin turned to his men. Clear the room. They hesitated. Now. When the door shut, he faced her fully. If you go to Busan, you stop being my wife. She blinked. What? You become a player, he said. No protection from the title. No immunity. If something goes wrong, I know, she said. I don't get saved just because I belong to you. That's not what I meant, he snapped. I don't want you to belong to anyone who can't protect you. Her voice softened. Then don't protect me. Stand with me. He stared at her like she'd just rewritten the rules of his world. You're not afraid, he said. I am, she answered honestly. I just refuse to let fear make my choices. That was when his phone buzzed. A message, no number, just a location pin. Busan Harbor, and a line beneath it. Come alone. Or she learns what regret really feels like. Jaemin's blood ran cold. Zainab leaned in to read it. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't flinch. They're bluffing, she said. No, he replied. They're not. She took a breath. Then we don't give them what they expect. Busan smelled like salt and oil and danger. The warehouse loomed at the edge of the docks, lights low, guards minimal. Too minimal. This is a trap, Jaemin muttered. Of course it is, Zainab said. That doesn't mean we can't spring it. Inside, the air was thick with tension. Footsteps echoed. Then applause. The man from the phone stepped into the light, well-dressed, smiling, eyes sharp with calculation. Chairman Kang, he said. And Madam. Zainab's gaze locked on him. You said come alone. He shrugged. I lied. Jaemin stepped forward. Where's my staff member? The man smiled wider. Safe, for now. Zainab felt the shift, the moment the man's eyes lingered on her a fraction too long. Possession. You're impressive, he said again. You could do better than him. She tilted her head. Is that what you tell all the women you try to steal? He laughed. Only the ones worth the trouble. His smile faded. I want access, roots, influence. And you think threatening me will get you that? Jaemin said coldly. I think, the man replied, that watching you choose between power and her will. Zainab stepped forward before Jaemin could stop her. You misunderstand something, she said calmly. I'm not the thing he'll sacrifice. The man raised a brow. No? No, she said. I'm the reason he won't. The man studied her, then chuckled. Let's test that. He snapped his fingers. A door opened behind them. The secretary was pushed forward, hands bound, eyes wide with terror. Zainab's heart dropped. Let her go. That depends, the man said. On you. Jaemin's voice turned lethal. You touch either of them, and you die. Empty threats, the man repeated. Now, Madam Kang. Zainab stepped fully in front of Jaemin. I choose, she said. The room stilled. And far too many guns are lifted. If your heart is pounding right now, hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because the choice Zainab makes next will change everything. I choose, Zainab said again, louder this time. Every gun in the warehouse shifted. Jaemin's hand tightened around her wrist. Zainab? She didn't look back at him. If she did, she might hesitate. And hesitation was death. I choose to end this, she said calmly. Not by running, not by begging, but by making you irrelevant. The man laughed, slow and amused. You're brave, I'll give you that. I'm not brave, she replied. I'm tired. That wiped the smile off his face. Untie her, Zainab said, nodding toward the secretary. And I'll talk. Jaemin snapped. No. Zainab finally turned to him. Her eyes were steady, grounded. Trust me. His chest rose sharply. This is not negotiation. This is extortion. And you taught me how to survive extortion, she said softly. By flipping the power. The man watched them closely. Interesting marriage. Untie her, Zainab repeated, eyes locked on him, or this conversation ends right now. He studied her for a long moment, then lifted a hand. Do it. The ropes fell away. The secretary stumbled forward, sobbing. Go, Zainab told her. Don't stop. The girl hesitated, then ran. Jaemin's men shifted, tense. Now, the man said smoothly. We talk. Zainab didn't sit. She didn't relax. She stood like she belonged there. You want roots, she said. You want influence into African trade lines. You want legitimacy you can't buy. His eyes sharpened. Go on. You don't need him, she continued. You need me. Jaemin turned sharply. Zainab. She raised her hand slightly. Let me finish. The man leaned back, intrigued. Explain. I have access, she said. Not through his name, but through mine. Through people who don't trust men like you or him. That's a lie, the man said. No, she replied calmly. It's why you chose me. You didn't stalk me because I was his wife. You stalked me because I'm African, educated, connected, and underestimated. Silence dropped hard. Jaemin stared at her. This was the part of her he had never fully seen. You hurt me to get to him, Zainab continued. That was your mistake, because now I see you. The man smiled slowly. You're offering yourself as a bridge. I'm offering a firewall, she corrected. You don't touch me. You don't touch anyone under my name, and you walk away from him. And in return, I open the doors, she said. Legally, cleanly, without blood. Jaemin exploded. Absolutely not. Zainab turned to him sharply. You said teach me. This is strategy. This is suicide, he snapped. She stepped closer to him, voice low so only he could hear. You taught me power. Isn't loud. It's leverage. He froze. She was right. The man clapped once. You're extraordinary. Decide, Zainab said, because if you don't, the warehouse lights flickered. Screens along the walls turned on. Footage, his men, his warehouses, his accounts. Zainab didn't blink. I sent files 30 minutes ago, she said calmly, to 3 governments, 3 different continents. If I don't cancel the drop, everything you are burning. The man's smile vanished. Jaemin's breath caught. You did what? She didn't look away from the man. I learned from the best. The man took a step forward, then stopped. You planned this, he said quietly. Yes. Behind my back, Jaemin demanded. She glanced at him briefly. You would have stopped me. The man exhaled slowly. You're not a pawn. No, Zainab agreed. I'm the board. Silence stretched until it hurt. Finally, the man lifted his hands. You walk away, both of you. Jaemin didn't move. And if you don't, Zainab answered instead, then the world learns your name. The man studied her one last time, then nodded once. This isn't over. It is for you, she said. They walked out of the warehouse without another word. Only when the doors slammed shut behind them did Jaemin grab her arm and pull her close. What the hell did you do? He demanded, voice shaking with fury and something dangerously close to awe. She met his eyes. I survived. You risked everything. So did you, she shot back. Every day you married me. They stood there, breathing hard, the sea air sharp around them. Back in Seoul, the fallout hit fast. Board members scrambled. Enemies went quiet. Lines went dead. Zainab sat in Jaemin's office days later, reading reports. You dismantled 3 threats, his underboss said, stunned, without firing a shot. Zainab closed the folder. Violence is lazy. Jaemin watched her from across the room. That night they stood in the bedroom again. Same room, different people. You don't regret marrying me, she said quietly. He shook his head. I regret underestimating you. She stepped closer. And the secretary? She resigned, he said, with protection. A new job. Zainab nodded. Good. Silence. Then he said, You could have left. She met his gaze. So could you. He reached for her this time and didn't stop. Not to claim. Not to cage. But to stand beside her. And if you're still here, still feeling this intensity, like, subscribe and tell me. Did Zainab save him? Or did she just become more dangerous than all his enemies combined? The silence between them didn't break when he touched her. It deepened. Not the fragile kind, the kind that carried weight, consequence, history. Zainab didn't pull away, but she didn't lean in either. You don't get to touch me like everything is suddenly fine, she said quietly. Jaemin's hand dropped instantly. That hurt more than anger. I know, he said. I wasn't trying to erase what I did. Good, she replied, because I won't let you. Days passed. The city calmed, but the house didn't. Zainab noticed it first, the way guards deferred to her now, the way decisions paused until she spoke, the way people watched her like she was no longer an accessory, but an axis. She didn't miss the change in Jaemin either. He stopped ordering her around, started asking, What do you think? Should we move this? Do you trust him? Each question shifted something between them. Power shared was unfamiliar ground. You're quieter, she said one night as they reviewed reports in the study. I'm listening, he replied. She glanced at him. That's new. He didn't deny it, but peace never lasted long in his world. The message came at dawn. Not a threat, an invitation, a private dinner. One name attached. Chairwoman Park Soo-yeon, board royalty. She never invites, Jaemin said flatly. She does when she wants to measure someone, Zainab replied. He looked at her. She asked for both of us. That was new too. The restaurant was discreet. No cameras, no press. Chairwoman Park smiled as they arrived, eyes sharp and assessing. Madam Kang, she said warmly, you're more impressive in person. Zainab returned the smile. So I've been told. The woman laughed softly. Straightforward. I like that. Dinner unfolded like a chess match. Compliments wrapped around tests. Curiosity disguised as concern. You've changed him, Chairwoman Park said casually, stirring her tea. Jaemin stiffened. Zainab didn't. No, I revealed him. The woman's brow lifted. Interesting answer. You don't survive power by being invisible, Zainab continued. You survive by being undeniable. Chairwoman Park leaned back, studying her. You know why I called you here? Yes, Zainab said. You're deciding whether I'm a liability. And, Zainab met her gaze steadily, I'm an asset you can't control. That's what bothers you. Silence snapped tight. Then Chairwoman Park laughed, genuine this time. You're dangerous, she said. I approve. Jaemin exhaled slowly. On the ride home, he stared out the window. You just secured my position, he said. Zainab corrected gently. Our position. He nodded. I won't forget that. The real test came that night. Zainab woke to the sound of voices. Low, urgent. She slipped out of bed and followed the sound to the hallway. Jaemin stood with his underboss, faces tight. She disappeared, the man said. Zainab stepped forward. Who? The underboss hesitated. Jaemin answered. The secretary. Her stomach dropped. From where? Protected housing, the man said. No signs of forced entry. Zainab closed her eyes briefly. Someone wants to remind you, Jaemin said quietly, that leverage can be rebuilt. Zainab opened her eyes, fire burning behind them. Then we end it. How? The underboss asked. She didn't hesitate. We expose everything. Jaemin turned sharply. That would burn half the board. Yes, she said, and every enemy is hiding behind them. That kind of move creates chaos, the underboss warned. Zainab nodded. Chaos favors the prepared. Jaemin studied her face, searching for doubt. Found none. Do it, he said. The next 48 hours detonated Seoul's elite. Accounts frozen, names leaked, alliances shattered. The secretary resurfaced, unharmed, abandoned when she became too risky to keep. Zainab visited her personally. You didn't deserve any of this, she said. The girl shook her head. They won't stop, will they? Zainab's voice was calm. They will, because they're afraid now. Back, home, Jaemin waited. You crossed a line today, he said. She met his gaze. So did you. You let me. He stepped closer. I don't want to own you. Good, she replied. I don't want to be owned. He paused. Then, I want to be chosen. The words settled between them, heavy and honest. She searched his face. This is who I am, she said. I won't get smaller. I don't want you smaller, he said. I want you beside me. She nodded once. Then we start over. Not as commander and wife. As equals, he finished. They didn't kiss. They didn't touch. They stood there, two dangerous people finally facing each other without armor. And if you've stayed with this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, because the final chapter is where everything comes due. The city didn't know it yet, but Seoul had already changed. Power shifted quietly. No explosions, no headlines screaming blood, just names disappearing from boards, funds rerouted, calls unanswered, the kind of ending that terrified people who thought they were untouchable. Zainab stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of Jaemin's office, watching the Han River cut through the city like a blade. Morning light touched her face, calm and unflinching. You should leave, Jaemin said behind her. She didn't turn. You don't mean that. I do, he replied. If you walk away now, no one will chase you. I'll make sure of it. She finally faced him. And what would be left of you? He frowned. What do you mean? You built your life on control, she said evenly. On deciding who stays and who goes. If I leave because it's safer, then everything you said about change was a lie. His jaw tightened. I don't want you destroyed because of me. And I don't want to live a life where the price of loving someone is erasing myself, she shot back. We don't get both safety and truth. We choose. He studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. Then stay, he said. But this time, stay because you want to. Not because you're trapped. She took a slow breath. I am staying, she said. But hear me clearly. This ends the old marriage. His chest rose. And starts what? A real one, she said. Or nothing. That was the most dangerous demand anyone had ever made of him, and the first he didn't resist. The retaliation came 3 days later. Not from rivals, from inside. A board emergency meeting, closed doors, armed guards. Zainab sat beside Jaemin at the long table as accusations flew. She's compromised you. She's a foreign liability. She's the reason enemies circled. Zainab listened quietly. Then she stood. The room went still. You're right, she said calmly. I did compromise him. Murmurs rippled. I compromised his ability to rule through fear alone, she continued. I exposed weaknesses you were happy to exploit while pretending loyalty. She slid a folder onto the table. Those are records, she said. Offshore accounts, illegal votes, deals with men who would have sold this company piece by piece. Faces drained of color. You can remove me, Zainab said, but if you touch him or try to undo what's already changed, every document in that folder goes public. Silence crashed down. Chairwoman Park spoke slowly. You've turned a marriage into a coup. Zainab met her gaze. No, I turned survival into evolution. Jaemin stood. For years, he said, voice steady, you benefited from my brutality and called it leadership. That era is over. One by one, eyes dropped. The vote passed, unanimous. When the doors closed behind the last board member, Jaemin let out a breath he'd been holding for years. You destroyed them, he said quietly. Zainab corrected. I removed their illusion. That night, the house was quiet. No guards in. The hallway. No emergency calls, no threats. Just the two of them, standing in the bedroom that once felt like a cage. I thought you regretted marrying me, she said softly. He shook his head. I regretted not deserving you. She studied his face, really looked at him. You almost lost me, she said. I know. And if you ever try to control me again, I won't, he said immediately, because I know what it costs. She stepped closer. Say it. I don't regret marrying you, he said. I regret every moment I made you feel disposable. Something in her chest finally loosened. This time, when she reached for him, it wasn't anger or survival. It was a choice. Weeks later, Seoul whispered a new story. The Korean mafia boss who changed. The African woman who didn't bend. The marriage that stopped being a weakness and became a warning. Enemies stayed away. And she was protected by herself. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Do you think love makes Poe allies recalibrated? And those who thought destroying him would be easy learned the truth too late. He wasn't protected by fear anymore. He was protected by her. We're stronger or more dangerous because this story ends here.